Alright, I am back with the budget deck profiles actually, and obviously coming back with the banger. No, it's not that great to be honest, because there's a way to play this deck that is way more competent but costs a bit more money. I think Chaos Lightsworn's actually top like one of these remote duel extravaganza whatever things. So if you want to check out like an actual good deck, do that. But this is a deck that it's broken down into like budget pieces. You could pick this up for like 50 quid, I don't know, around that kind of price. And it's fairly playable. It's not much better than any other Lightsworn variant because the deck is just, well, lacks support since Curious, and that was only like half support because it didn't really help with a lot of the problems that the deck in general has. But it's a nice mix up between Thunder Dragons. I like that it's a bit different. I like that you can play it in a Chaos kind of variant. It's not too expensive. I think the most expensive card is probably one of the extra deck cards that you don't have to be playing. I'm coming up with different solutions for that as well. And Chaos Space, which sadly is a card that you need. Like this deck doesn't really run without Chaos Space. No real deck, Chaos deck runs without Chaos Space, I feel. Starting in Chaos Dragon Levianeer, you don't have to play this card if that's over your budget in a sense. It's not that expensive anymore, but there's obviously cards that you could substitute. I just like it as like a Chaos card because it actually adds effects to the deck. Like it actually has effects when it just banishes 2, but the banish 2 and summon in level 8 can be good enough, so you could substitute this with like the you know, the other Chaos dragons that they are level 8. Easy substitute. Could actually technically run a third dragon duo if you wanted to as well. One danger Thunderbird, first of all, because you can summon it with Jackalope, so you can go into rank 8s if you search out any of the other Chaos monsters. Plus, you don't really have any spell trap removal or any sort of removal because the deck is kind of meant to go first, so Thunderbird can actually help you. Plus, the danger discard draw helps you go through your deck, helps you fill your graveyard, so I felt like including a few dangers wouldn't hurt the deck too much. 2 Thunder Dragon Duo because the effect is not once per turn, so you can summon it as many times as you want. It's searchable and helps you go into rank 8s and helps you finishing out the game. Plus you get with the banishes your Thunder Dragon effects, so that is pretty neat. Also could cut it down to 1 if you want to since it's searchable, but actually did like it at 2. Thunder Dragon Hawk reshuffles your hand, which in a deck like Bricksworns can be quite neat when actually banished. A lot of the time you want to mainly use the discard effect, but I'm not going to say that the reshuffle effect is completely terrible in this deck. Plus it's a light monster, so that helps with the whole chaos thing. Dark Thunder Dragon Roar basically is, well, discarding it can be nice, but the banish effect is where it shines. If you want to go into your Link Force, for example, if you want to go into your fusion monster, all these kind of things, this card really shines. Plus it can recycle your fusion, so that is also pretty neat. Thunder Dragon Dark, another dark monster. The quick effect is basically to trigger your Titan, so that's why I run at least 2 of this. Could bump it up to 3. The ratios are still a bit iffy, but if you run too many of them, then you break too much, and it's not that easy. But yeah, that and Thunder Dragon Matrix are the cards that you want to use to trigger your Titan, which should work since you can all recycle them with certain effects. Plus you can add 1 Thunder Dragon card from your deck to your hand, which is also nice, which searches your fusion out of your deck. And yeah, so it makes it so you can technically only play 1 fusion. Sure, you sometimes mill it, but you still have the instant fusion play, and even if the Thunder Dragon route isn't quite what you're going to be using, then there's still like link material and so on that you can use with this card. We'll go into synchros. Black Dragon Collop Serpent and the White Dragon Wyver Buster obviously are cards that in a Chaos deck are kind of part of the game plan, because you can easily go into rank force, which is quite nice because Minerva is a thing in Lightsworns, and Dugaris helps you extending your plays to a certain degree. And you could also play any other kind of rank force that you want, Tornado Dragon or whatsoever. There's no limits for that. Zephyros, a good card if you put it into the graveyard. You can bounce your Dangers back, reuse the effects. You can bounce a Lightsworn back if you need to, if you have Solar Recharge in hand and you can't use it. I can technically bounce a Dragon Dark back if you want to banish more things from your graveyard. Yeah, limitless. Chaos Valkyria, cards that can be searched with Chaos Space, so it's quite nice. Banish the card from your graveyard, either light or dark, which is quite nice. And the effect of dumping things to the graveyard, well, not that nice because you can't use it in the effect of the card this turn, so makes it kind of pointless, but can be helpful for stuff like Plague Spreader Zombie the next turn, then you know. Danger Mothman, same kind of thing, helps you set up your graveyard, helps you put a body onto the field, helps you set up the graveyard more and go through your deck. So that's quite a nice addition. Sadly, it makes your opponent be doing that as well. So yeah, is a two-edged sword there. Fearless could be nicer if you would run Chaos Ruler. That's why the other variant is quite nice, because then you could actually send Fearless into the graveyard by a monster effect, because it doesn't have to be Lightsworn monster effect. So could bump Fearless up if you actually are in possession of a Chaos Ruler. Then this deck gets a whole lot better, because Chaos Ruler is a very, very neat card, because you can bring it back, you can easily go into rank 8s, you can easily get cards into the graveyard, search stuff to your hand that you want to use. Chaos Ruler is the one card I would suggest to make this deck like a load better. Trick Clown, why not in a Chaos mill deck? Obviously, adds another body onto the board. Raiden is quite a good card. Technically, you go +2 with this card if you hit 2 targets that actually do something in the graveyard, which can be a good thing. Plus, it fills up the graveyard for free. You can summon it. I mean, I guess it's your normal summon-ish, because the other cards gladly aren't. So having Raiden as a normal summon and Lumina possibly is not terrible. You could play 2 Luminas, but I felt like Lumina actually doesn't work out that great, because you need quite a big setup, and if it gets negated, then you lose the card in your hand, you lose a lot of play potential. So I felt like 1 Lumina in terms of ratios was good enough. Could bump it up to 2 in case you mill it if you search it off of charge, but you know, that's all quality of life changes that you can make yourself when you play the deck. Triple Wolf, because why not? It's a mill deck, so would make sense to play. Danger Jackalope is, well, like I said, can summon at level 4 or at level 8, and it goes through your deck, so that's quite neat. But if it's too expensive for you, fair enough. You can cut the whole Danger engine and play something else if you want to. Lumina already talked about. Plague Spreader Zombie is a card that helps you go into FA Dawn Dragster, for example. Could help you going into Stardust Charge Warrior if you want to draw a card and then further extend your plays. Could help you going into a lot of stuff with the Thunder Dragons, because level 6, level 5. So we have the Tenyi monster or Borload Savage Dragon, which also you don't need to play if you don't want to. There's a lot of other level 8 synchros that you could be playing, mainly for going into rank 8s then anyway. And Thunder Dragon Matrix to mainly trigger your Titan, which, you know, can be nice as well. Allure of Darkness, because you have a lot of dark monsters, and some of them actually do get effects while being banished, so that card actually adds to the deck a lot. Chaos Space, you can get cards into your hand for Solar Recharge, which is not the main use you want to get out of this card, but you could, so that's also not terrible. And you could search your Wyverns and everything, recycle stuff, banish stuff. It's all over a great card, especially in this deck, because it has a lot of cards that cannot be normal summoned or set. So that card works perfectly in this deck. Charge the Light Brigade, mills your 3, searches your Lightsworn, which sadly there's not that many good Lightsworns in your hand. I still wait for support that possibly fixes this eventually at one point, but so far searching Lumina or Raiden will probably be the main play, sadly. Foolish Burial is a nice card, since any kind of material to the graveyard that you would need extends your plays a bit further. Same for Instant Fusion, either goes into Titan by summoning Kaminari Attack, or invoked Kaliga. You don't have to play that card for an Instant Fusion target, could also go for Darkfire Dragon and so on. But since you could get Kaliga back somehow, I felt like this card could have potential usage eventually. So I didn't want to not play a good actually summonable card that's level 4 for some rank 4 plays or whatever it is that you want to do with the Instant Fusion target. But you could totally cut that and just use Instant Fusion to go into Thunder Dragon Titan with the Kaminari Attack. Monster Reborn, getting stuff back from your graveyard while playing a mill deck surely wouldn't be too bad. It's not always the most helpful card, but extends your plays a bit further, so I felt like including it. Triple Solar Recharge, because you do run a lot of Lightsworn targets. You're able to search a lot of Lightsworn targets. It mills, it draws, refreshes. I think it's quite a good card. You could cut it down to 2 if you want to, because you will mainly not be resolving it more than once, but sometimes you do. So I felt like at 3 it was quite nice. Plus, getting it into your opening hand is a nice thing, but very vulnerable to Ash Blossom. So be aware of that. And 1 Thunder Dragon Fusion could play 2, but I felt like 1 was enough because of the recycling and so on. So it felt like it did its job at 1, because if you mill it, you can still get it back, and you summon your Titan by shuffling your banished cards back, which is nice, and your milled cards. So this should mainly be live at the end of your turn if you want to get the Titan out. Sadly, Colossus is still banned, so that's not going to happen. Double Titan, so you can actually replace it and go into another one on a later turn. Kaminari attack, 4 Titan, 4 instant fusion. Borload Savage Dragon as a good level 8 synchro monster. Problem is that you don't really play that many link monsters, so the only way this effect will really come up is by actually going into Lumina, then going into Appaloosa basically. So it's not the optimal card. You could play any other one, but if you get this off, like having an extra negate obviously is quite nice. The Hulky variants make more use of this card because it's easier to get link monsters into the graveyard, but here there's not a real card that helps with link climbing if you don't want to play Selene or Hulk, which I did not want to include because that would add up to the price unnecessarily as well, which would make the deck obviously a little bit better, but that's how it is. Tenyi Draco Berserker is actually a good enough card to play as an actual level 8 synchro, getting rid of some opponent's cards, but mainly with Appaloosa and stuff, you will not be needing this all that much, but it's still a good play. FA Dawn Dragster, very nice, negating spell traps, could not be better. Stardust Charge Warrior, basically just to draw another card, not really that great, but I feel like the level 6 synchro options are a bit limited if you go in first. For going second, there's a bit more, so you can take this out if you want to. The Hope Harbinger, same thing, negating spell cards, pretty neat most of the time. Minerva, milling, drawing, you're running some Lightsworns, yeah, why not? Baguska, plan B if everything fails. Appaloosa plus Baguska can be nice, obviously, or so can be Yugioh plus Baguska as well in certain situations where you actually cannot do anything but you want to draw more into your deck to set up a play for the second turn. Dugaris helps you draw and discard to fill up your graveyard, helps you summon out a monster from your graveyard, which can be nice in certain situations. Yeah, plus could help you OTK actually. Doubling your opponent's points isn't too terrible and it's quite easily made, so why not include that? Appaloosa, very good for a deck that spams material onto the board, getting 4 monster negates, who's going to say no to that? So your Skuldred, summoning a Lumina or a Raiden from your hand could be nice, redraw and basically refreshing your hand, also nice. Not always the most helpful to go into because a lot of the time you struggle to actually, after you've used 4 materials on the board, to actually do more on that. So not always the best option, but it could come in handy. Curious, actually pretty nice because you will have a lot of dark monsters with different types and a lot of light monsters with different types because the Thunder Dragons actually help you with that. So Curious is easily made and fills up your graveyard even more. So could easily then Curious into Wolf, into Appaloosa for 2 material, and then go on from that. Could also play any other Link 4 that you want to be playing. And that is about the deck profile. Honorable mentions, the Chaos Creator, if you can afford it, very good card, extends the plays, level 8, could easily play that for like 1 Dragon Duo or something like this. Another card that is helpful, Chaos Betrayer. As a level 6, you could go into rank 6s with the Thunder Dragons. You could go into like the Synchros with Plague Spreader Zombie. Not too bad, but yeah, it summons from graveyard, but I felt like it was too annoying in my hand most of the time, so I cut that card. And a big addition to the deck, if it's ever cheaper or you have it, would be the Chaos Ruler, because, well, dumping 4 cards into your graveyard and adding a card to your hand, plus being able to banish cards from your graveyard and summoning this card back, insane. Like, that is just one of the cards you really want if you could afford it. That's the deck profile. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed that it's a bit of a different kind of thing, not the same as usual, and have a good day.